Hello everybody, my name is Rosario and I am proudly Colombian and proud student at the Google Udacity degree for Android basic developers. This is my first time coding after almost 7 years involved in technology. It has been quite challenging and wonderful. Today, I want to share with you a topic that motivates me every day and every morning, building technology for good. Today, I will talk about equitable design. We use technology every day and it is solving many issues in our daily life. For sure, we also have fun using technology, but just imagine for a second if we could solve the key problems our community has by building some tech as a solution. The question is how I am helping to build a better world. It is not necessarily needed to do something very visible. In many cases, getting deeper into our communities could be the best option. Let's think for a second and imagine a problem you or your community has every day. From commuting to health, from education to resources, from time managing to time for ourselves. Take a time to think what is problem you have and would love to solve. Take your time. It is very important to dedicate the correct amount of time to really understand the problem. Otherwise, we will be coming with a not that good solution. Ready? Well, as we learned in the nano degree, it is not always easy to identify and define a problem. The main reason it is difficult to define a problem when the problem is a community thing is because in many cases we think we are defining the problem when we are really giving a solution already with some biases. Or we are missing the people in the solution. Or we are giving the definition of the problem as a deficiency. And many times we are confusing the symptoms with the root cause. Other times we are missing the restrictions the system and institutions have. And finally, in other cases, we are missing the historical problem context. Then, considering those issues, please you look again to your problem. Take a piece of paper and write, what is the real problem? Who is affected by it? Where and when does it happen? And why it is happening? Take your time to think around that. In order to solve problems, the world is every day more and more using the tools created by startups and companies to go from an idea to the real operation of the solutions. Let's, for example, give a look to Udacity, trying to solve the problem of technical skills and the gap between what the people is learning and what the market is needing. The solution will give also job opportunities to many people, but the root problem is how we are working to fill the current gap. From these methods, and due to the time restriction, we will use two only today. The first tool is design thinking. This is a method developed by an organization named IDEO. This method is oriented to understand very well who will be the user our product will have or our solution will have. The person's need, the user's interest, the user's personality. The idea of this method is get very deep into the understanding of the final user experience. The second one is Lean Startup, inspired in the lean manufacturing method developed by Toyota Production Systems and some other best practices from Henry Ford and other manufacturers. This method is a great tool creating a positive cycle from ideas to product and improvement by data, incentivizing the quick prototyping and assumptions testing, creating efficiencies in the process. And as somebody said once, if you will fail, do it as quicker as possible. And here the suggestion we have is that we will mix both. We don't have enough time today to extend, but if anybody wants to know more about this, I can share more later on, or you can just Google it. Let's take your problem. I will explain what is empathy. Let's take this example. I'm a Latina, I'm a female, and I learned many of my advocacy skills after I was 30 years old, losing a very important time to do more. I meet and see young females and speak with them every time, very frequently, and I can really imagine being on their shoes. That's empathy. Then let's go to a definition. When we define a problem, we need to be as specific as possible, very clear on what we want. Uh, I will give you my example. We identified that girls are losing the opportunity to become advocates for themselves and their communities. After you define your problem, you should go to ideate. It is create or generate ideas around the topic. What could be done? What could be a nice tool to solve the problem? How to make it? And my recommendation here is to use the 5 W's. What, when, how, why, where. Having all this, we already have the problem completely identified. Now let's go to the solution. When we have an idea of the solution, let's take again our example. VR America's Youth, a project my company is leading, wants to provide the opportunity to middle school girls to improve their communication and technology skills while learning new storytelling techniques using a relatively new technology, virtual reality. As we moved into the proposed solution, we decided to prototype. What does it mean? We selected our assumptions and went into a classroom with middle school girls and did our first VR America's Youth pop-up or workshop. We found some of the things we assumed worked and some others not yet that well. How we did the test? With data. Doing tests before the prototyping, during the workshop, compiling information during the workshop, and finally, taking data after the workshop. It was completely amazing. Now, we have a project that really solves a problem we care about. I will let you know how it goes in the next months when we are building the product and launching. I also should say we were able to do that prototyping thanks to the 4.0 schools where we learned many of these concepts and where we earned the Essentials Fellowship. As a side note, if any of you is considering helping to solve the future of schools, give a look to their webpage. The most important point, don't forget to have enough data to know if it is really working or not. If you are really understanding what you are doing, the problem, the impact, the people around the problem. Well, and now I'm sure we are also able to write it in an SQL database thanks to the syllabus and the program we learned in the nano degree. Now a key point, this is very important. When we are creating a solution, we should consider the majority of the people. Not every user we want to impact has the same conditions. The data will show us that some are in the center where the majority is, but others have very different conditions. Not everybody has access to a smartphone, or not everybody has internet access all the time, or not everybody could afford to pay for some services, and not everybody has the same skills. We need to consider this when we are designing a product. And that is where we should test our assumptions with the people who is in the margin of our users group. The ones with the conditions that are not the typical conditions. The ones who have the less favorable access tools to access our solution. That way we will be designing an equitable product. My final point. We have now a superpower. Thank you to Google Udacity, the teachers, the mentors, the fellow students, everybody participating and helping us through Slack, through the platform, through conversations, because we are now a very privileged group of people who can build tech. We know how to collaborate as we did in the last 9 months. This is an amazing group, and I am sure that together with our new coding superpower, we can help the world and our communities to solve their main and key problems. The world is in need of people helping to solve the key problems that are affecting the majority of the people. I'm ready, and I wish you too. Let's make the magic happen. Thank you. If you have any question, my Slack is Rosariobc. I will tell it again. Rosariob as in Bravo, C as in Charlie. Thank you and have a good day.